Welcome, everyone, to your new moon in Gemini Taroscopes for your new moon in Gemini on May 26th. This is going to be a great new moon. We're going to talk to you all about it and how you can make the most of it. So welcome to my channel. I'm Joshua the Psychic. You can check out my website, psychicsun.com, if there's anything I can do for you. So let's talk about what this Gemini new moon is all about. So it marks a time for fresh starts, of course, but this is more than just a regular new moon because we have all of our inner planets in direct motion. So this means that forward momentum without retrograde setbacks are going to make this the perfect lunation to set intentions and to take actions toward your goals. So it's definitely a game-changing new moon. We're going to talk about why it's so great for you and how you can make the most of it. So the sun, moon, and Mercury are all in Gemini. The new moon in Gemini is so close to Mercury, and that makes it very, very, very Gemini, right? Because Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. So it's going to be a very, very intense communication transit. There's probably going to be a lot of information thrown at you. It's going to be a lot of stuff that you're going to have to contend with information-wise. So it's in your best interest to not feel like you have to respond to absolutely everything because there's going to be a lot that you're going to get. You're going to get a lot of information. So the conjunction, though, with Mercury is going to give us an opportunity to refine our mindset. It's going to help us to communicate more clearly and to also create new connections. It's going to amplify our ability to move forward with purpose. And I would just say, remember, there's going to be a surplus of information that you're going to be getting from the 26th of May until I believe it's the 11th of June. Let me just make sure of that. Yep, the 11th of June, at which point we'll have our full moon in Sagittarius. So during this cycle, there's going to be a lot of information. Just learn to separate the wheat from the chaff. Don't feel like you have to answer and respond to everything. Don't feel like you have to go to every single party you get invited to. You know, you can decline things and you can decide not to be part of conversations that you don't think are worth your time and energy. And I would really encourage you to do that because there's going to be a lot of information thrown at you. So we have Pluto in Aquarius at 3 degrees and Mercury in Gemini at 2 degrees. And this is really, really close trine because both Gemini and Aquarius are air signs. So there's a nice flow of energy. So Pluto and Aquarius is going to form this harmonious trine with the Gemini new moon, as well as with Mercury. It's very close to Mercury. And this supportive aspect is going to help us to deeply transform. It's going to encourage intellectual growth. And I would say it's very transformative and in the sense that it's going to help you open new doors, especially those doors that pertain to your wishes, your dreams, your goals, your friends, your community. And this is over the next 6 months. Yeah, you're going to set your intentions on May 26th, and you're going to start to see manifestations of them within those 2 weeks by your full moon in Sagittarius on June 11th. But the full manifestation of your intentions will come about in 6 months, and that's going to be December. So when we have our full moon in Gemini, when the sun is in Sagittarius. So it's going to help us to evolve, and it's also going to help us to align with people who help unlock our potential. So definitely make friends. Gemini is a very, very social sign. So what you may determine over the next few weeks is who you want to be associated with, what people you want around you, how you want to communicate differently, who you want to communicate with. And your alliances are going to be really, really helpful, not just because Gemini is social, but because Aquarius is too. And with this harmonious trine, you want to really connect with other people because they're really going to help you to align with your goals. It's always a good idea to be in a group of people that are doing what you want to do, or even better, have done what you want to achieve, right? Because of that osmotic learning, you're going to take on the traits of those people that you're around. And this is very, very important with this social lunation because your social life is going to, really help you to achieve your goals. It's not a real hermity, do it by yourself lunation. It's a very, very social one. Hello, sunflowers. Nice to see you. So you'll enjoy this trine with Aquarius for sure. We have also Saturn and Neptune recently moved into Aries. And that's really, really good for us during this lunation because the sun is in Gemini and the moon is in Gemini, of course, for your new moon. And Aries and Gemini sextile each other because air needs fire to live and fire needs air to live and air needs fire to keep warm, right? So Saturn, Neptune, and Aries recently having entered these new signs, making sextile aspects to the new moon and Pluto. So this energy between Saturn and Neptune is going to make us very imaginative, and it's going to be very good for visualization. But because Saturn is involved, we're going to be able to combine our imagination with disciplined action. And this is going to create a strong foundation for our goals, and it's going to give us the power to build toward long-term success. So since Saturn is involved, you want to think long-term. Where do you want to be in the next 5 years? What's the big plan? And I would say with Saturn and Neptune and Aries, newly in Aries, it's about really visualizing things in a bold way. Like if you could have whatever it is that you want, what would it look like? What would it feel like? Right? Because with Saturn and Neptune and Aries, it's going to be a lot easier to manifest. We're not going to be as wishy-washy as we had been when Saturn and Neptune were in Pisces. So we have imagination and disciplined action. So you want to play over in your mind how you want things to be, right? And then you want to create a plan, some kind of trajectory, some kind of track on which you can follow in order to achieve your goals. So what's your plan? This is what you're imagining. Okay, well, that's what it looks like in its fullness. Now your question also is going to be, okay, how do we make this happen in an expeditious, economical way? How can we make this matter of course? What do we need to do? What plan needs to be implemented? So look in your chart for lots of really cool things. One, of course, you want to find out where that 6 degrees of Gemini is in your chart. This is where you want to really focus your energy, i.e., if you have 6 degrees of Gemini in your second house, it's a great time for you to think about making new money. If you have in your seventh, it's a good idea to think about how to empower your relationships or get into new relationships, etc. So set intentions for fresh beginnings and new projects wherever 6 degrees of Gemini is in your chart. Mercury at 2 degrees Gemini, it's going to be where you want to refine your communication and thought processes. Where can you streamline your intellect? What do you need to think about more? What do you need to think about less? What belongs in your brain? What doesn't belong in your brain, right? I think with the Gemini energy, it's all about choices and decisions. And one thing that might be helpful is to really ask yourself when you're thinking about things, so is this a helpful thought? Is this actually going to help me? Is this productive thinking? You got Pluto at 3 degrees Aquarius. Find out where that is in your chart, because that's probably where you're going to be transforming. In fact, that's where it's probably going to be easiest for you to transform. So look to wherever you have 3 degrees of Aquarius in your chart. What goals do you have around that area of your chart? What groups might help you to achieve your goals? So embrace transformation in your beliefs and your social circles. Allow your tribe to match your vibe. And like we had said, you want to align with those people who are doing what you want to do or who have already done what you want to do. Check where Saturn is at 0 degrees Aries. This is where you're going to be able to build structure, and this is where you want to think long term and where you need to be disciplined in order to implement your vision. And Neptune at 1 degrees Aries, that's also going to be where you're going to find yourself being highly creative, very imaginative. So channel your creativity and imagination into your goals wherever 1 degree of Aries is in your chart. So we're going to talk about this for every single sign. But for all of us, what we want to do to harness this energy is reflect in areas in your life where fresh starts are needed. Where do you need to be more curious? Where do you want that fresh energy? Gemini is all about new things, and they can be a little bit scattered because Well, they're intellectually curious and they get bored very easily. So if there's an area of your life in which you've been perpetually bored and just, oh, this is driving me nuts, this isn't fun anymore, that's probably where you want to invoke some fresh energy. Communicate your intentions clearly. You got to be clear. That's really important with the Gemini energy. So make sure you know what it is that you want and find out ways that you can communicate that diplomatically. Embrace transformation. That's going to be important with Pluto involved. You want to really utilize that Aquarius 3 degrees Pluto 3 degrees Aquarius, because that's going to make things super easy for you to change. And I would say that, with this energy moving from Taurus to Gemini, Taurus is, that unmovable object. Gemini is constantly moving, right? Constantly changing, constantly mutating and evolving. So you want to allow yourself to be as flexible as possible and really allow yourself to not be afraid of letting go. Align your actions with both your long-term goals and your immediate aspirations. Remember, Saturn is involved in this. Saturn is more long-term. So think, okay, well, what do I want to achieve in the next 2 weeks? What do I want to achieve in the next 6 months? What do I want to achieve in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, etc.? Maybe even longer if you have that foresight. And you want to set clear intentions for personal growth, intellectual exploration, and meaningful connections. So how do you want to grow over the next 6 months? What new things do you want to explore that's gonna make your mind really, really happy? What's going to make your brain really, really happy? And what meaningful connections might help you get to that next level, either romantically or professionally? What people do you want around you? You might want to even ask yourself, who do you want to chat with? What kind of people do you want to chat with? Do you want to chat with people who have already achieved the kinds of goals that you have? What new things do you want to learn? That's a big question too. And you want to lay the groundwork for the next 6 months of progress and transformation. So you know what you want, ideally. Got to work that plan with Saturn, because Saturn is really going to reward you if you create a plan and you stick with the plan. If you got to change the plan, well, that's fine, but at least have a loose plan in mind for the intentions that you set. Additionally, we're going to go through every single sign, of course, and you want to find out where that 6 degrees of Gemini is and where 3 degrees of Aquarius is, because that's where the power, the real power, is this lunation. So for Aries, you got this new moon, of course, in your 3rd house. So it's a fresh start for you in terms of communication, your mindset, and your alliances. You may want to refresh your communication style. Maybe you want to communicate in a different way. Maybe you've gotten feedback that you can be either too quiet or too abrupt, or, even you may have noticed in your communications, like, I probably could have said that better. I could have been more diplomatic. Look at where you want to refresh your communication style and touch upon a new aspect of yourself in terms of your communication, because that's going to keep you more inspired. Definitely align with like-minded people. You want to make sure that you're around people who are thinking in ways that will help you, right? You want to make sure that you're around people who either are aligned with your goals or who have achieved your goals or who want to achieve the same goals you do. And strengthen your daily interactions. One thing with the 3rd house, it's really about the things that you do on a regular basis, the people that you see. How can you really turn up that communication? How can you tweak it so that every conversation you have is more powerful and more effective? It could be as simple as just making an intention. Oh, I really hope that we gain this from this call. Or I'm going to make sure that, I tell people, you can start a conversation even by saying, okay, this is what I want to talk to you about, and this is how I want the conversation to end, right? You can even lay things out like that, however you can strengthen your daily interactions, the better. Now, Pluto is in your 11th house, and that's going to really transform your social circles and alliances. It's going to help you to really connect with like-minded people, because they're going to help you implement your vision. They're going to help you implement your goals. And there is this power of the group mentally. Like, you connect with a group of people and you're going to be naturally communicating with them telepathically without even realizing it. And if you're around people who are smart, you're going to start thinking like they think. And before you know it, you're going to be able to manifest what they manifest, right? That's why it's always a good idea to read the biographies of people who you want to emulate in some way, or people who have what you would like in your life. Well, follow them, wear them, right? Watch their videos, listen to their philosophy in life. And the card we chose for you is highly positive. The Empress is the card we chose for Aries. And when the Empress comes up in a reading, it means something new in your life is going to be born. And whenever something new in your life is born and it brings you great joy, the Empress is that vehicle for that something. So something new is coming in, and it's going to be important for you to nurture it, right? You're giving birth to new things now, like the Empress, like you may be pregnant with an idea, right? And once you implement that idea or give birth to that idea, well, you got to nurture it. So really tap into the energy of the Divine Mother for this fresh start in your communications, mindset, and alliances. That Divine Mother is always available to you, and the more you can align with her to nurture and guide you, the better you're going to be off for this lunation. And Taurus. So Taurus, this new moon in Gemini is hitting your second house of self-worth, resources, your career. This is the house that has to do with money. It has to do with your talents, your abilities. It rules the throat chakra. So you really want to do whatever you can to open up your throat chakra more. I would say that, with Gemini ruling your second house, Taurus, if you're looking to make more money, it is very natural for you to do more than one thing. As strange as that is for a Taurus to do more than one thing, because Taurus is so steadfast and grounded and somewhat focused on one particular thing, they actually going to be able to make the most money, Taurus, by doing more than one thing. So think about how you might add more one activity to your life if you're looking to make more money, having a dual role or two jobs, etc. So you want to reassess your financial goals this transit. How can you be more wise in terms of your money? What might you stop spending on? What you want to invest in, right? Because if you invest in yourself financially, there's a better chance of you gaining from that investment, i.e., taking a class, getting a certification, or even doing things that allow you to express yourself more. And that could be joining groups or learning how to communicate more effectively. This is a really great time for you to refine your skills and your values and determine, what you would like to be better at. And even better would be you determining what you might need to learn in order to make more money. Also, it's very important to get more in touch with your values this transit. Maybe it's a matter of your values have shifted. With Uranus having been in your sign for the past several years, chances are your priorities have shifted. So definitely check in with yourself and look and see what is more important now than it had been historically. You want to align your career with your personal growth. Like, how can the two work in tandem? How can you not separate work from play? How can you align your work life with your overall view of your identity as a mode of self-expression, right? Because then you're going to work to express yourself. You're not going to work just to make money, or you're not going to work just because you have to. You're going to work because your work is an extension of yourself. It's an extension of your talents and your skills and your abilities. Now, Pluto is transiting your 10th. So your career is definitely going to be going through a lot of changes, most likely over the next 6 months. So you may want to relax a little bit and get a sense of where you could go professionally, where you want to go professionally, what that looks like, because you essentially want to make sure that you're being valued and you're being paid really well. And that means you've got to take more responsibility and you want to determine where you are most passionate, because that's gonna be where you're going to excel best, is where you have the most passion. So if you can think about a leadership role, or transform the role that you have and edge toward leadership more, that's going to be very advantageous to you. Now, the card we pulled for you is the Hangman. And I think this makes a lot of sense, because that transition from your sign, which we had been in from April 20th to May 20th, it's very, very different from Gemini, right? Taurus wants to stabilize and ground and not really change things. And Gemini is all about change and activity and mobility and fluidity. So with the Hangman, you win by letting go. There's going to be so many things that are changing and requiring your attention. It might be helpful to just surrender. With the Hangman, you got to allow yourself to win by letting go and seeing things from another perspective. In some respects, the Hangman is about sacrifice. So there might be so much stimuli or ideas or people throwing stuff at you that you have no choice but to just, surrender and let go. But I feel like the big thing for you, because you're going through quite the transition. We just got out of your birthday, and now we have all this Gemini energy, and with the new moon so close to Mercury, it's very Gemini. Last year's Gemini new moon was aligned with Saturn, which was much easier for Taurus. But now, with this being a very, very chatty, information oriented new moon, I think with the Hangman, it's a matter of you got to learn how to let go, let God, relax a little bit, and don't feel like you have to make decisions straight away. Like, allow yourself to see a different perspective before you shoot your shot, because you're going to have plenty of time, and don't feel like you have to make decisions straight away. With all these energies, there may be people rushing you to make decisions. I would guard against that, if only because there's so much more that is most likely going to come about. There's more information that is going to be coming as the days go on toward June 11th. So just keep that in mind. Surrender, know when to let go. And Gemini, well, happy birthday, Gemini. This new moon, of course, is in your first house. So it's all about your identity. It's how you express yourself. It's your perspective, your perception. So this is a fresh start in terms of your identity, your self-expression, your goals. You may want to reinvent how you present yourself to other people. The first house has to do with that package that you present to the world, the first impression that you make. So you may want to consider a new hairstyle or a new wardrobe style, right? Maybe a new palette for your new you, right? Because that's going to be helpful. Not only is it going to keep you from, it's going to help you to really express yourself and therefore assert yourself, but it also is going to let you know mentally when you see yourself in the mirror, oh yeah, I'm this person now, right? So reinvent how you present yourself. Set bold personal intentions. I mean, this is a wonderful new moon, and I can't stress how lucky you are to have this beautiful lunation in your sign. There's just so many wonderful aspects. So be bold. You're probably not going to get as sweet a new moon as this for a while, most likely, realistically. And with Saturn involved, again, think of your long-term goals. Sure, you can think immediately that you want to accomplish this, but also long-term, what would really punch your ticket? What would be, what's the big plan, right? Pluto is going to really help you as well. It's going to help you to transform your beliefs. It's going to help you to expand your horizons. I would say with Pluto in your ninth house, it's going to be easier for you to take a leap of faith and have it work out successfully. So you may decide that you want to go on a foreign trip. You may decide that you want to start a business. The ninth house rules entrepreneurship, right? And I would say, because Pluto is so beautifully aspected this new moon, a leap of faith for you could be really very good, and it could really work out in your favor, right? As they say, no risk, no reward. And I would say, you want to take some risks this new moon. The card we chose for you is Strength. This is great. So with all the energy, especially in your sign, Gemini, you may feel almost irrepressible, even more so than usual. And you got to give people a little bit of grace, because people are not as smart as you. And they might not be able to take in as much information as you're able to give. And I understand that you have a lot that you want to say, and you have a lot of ideas, but you got to tame that beast, because you are going to be a live wire these next 2 weeks from May 26th to June 11th. And you want to make sure that you're taking time to understand that people might be having a harder time with this transit, and the flexibility and the information overload. So slow your roll. Remember, people are not as smart as you, most likely. They don't think as fast as you. They don't process information as quickly as you. Gemini, they see it, they get it. Other people, they need to think things through. So I would say with the strength card, be good at allowing yourself to tame that beast within, and not feel as if you need to get everything off your chest and get everything taken care of straight away, because people are going to be at a much slower pace than you. So be strong and temper yourself so you're not overwhelming other people, and also overwhelming yourself. There might be so much information that you're wanting to, do so many things. Really ground yourself and really say, okay, let's take care of this first. This might take longer than you expect. So, tame that beast, and you should be in good stead. So Cancer, this new moon for you is it's in your 12th house. So it's all about getting a little bit extra rest if you can. It's a fresh start in your spiritual growth, your subconscious patterns, your inner healing. This is a really great time to just heal the subconscious mind, right? How can you quiet down the mind and really make sure that you're not holding on to any beliefs that make you that are heavy, right? You don't want to feel anything that's heavy. Any baggage that you're carrying, so to speak, that's heavy is not your baggage, right? So release anything that might be wearing you down. Forgive yourself, forgive other people. What is renting up way too much space in your head? How can you let that go? Set intentions for inner peace. How can you relax the inner world more and be okay with the way things are? Because that's when you're going to be able to change them. You have to make peace with where you are now. And from there, you're going to be able to manifest what you want. But you're going to make peace with where you're at now. And that might be a really good goal for you. It's just peace of mind. And you want to strengthen subconscious clarity. And what I mean by that is, you may notice, oh, I always get myself in this kind of situation, or here we go again, same kind of story. Again, you're the common denominator in these stories. So what subconscious beliefs are you playing with that are not serving you? You may want to look at somebody who has what you want and really determine what do they believe about themselves, what do they believe about the world, and then adopt those beliefs. Whatever it is that they believe, probably they believe that what they have is easy to get, right? So it might be easier for you to really align with other people who have what it is that you want and adopt their beliefs. Now, Pluto can help you with deep transformation. It's hitting your 8th house. So, this is really about your boundaries. Like, where are you drawing your boundaries? Where are you dissolving your boundaries? I.e., where are you saying no and where are you saying yes, right? How can you connect more deeply with people for your empowerment? And how can you create a strong boundary that protects you so you maintain your empowerment? So this Pluto energy is going to help you with emotional transformation, and it's going to clear the way for powerful change. We chose the Empress for you as well, which is nice. So whenever something new comes into your life that brings you great joy, the Empress is the vehicle for that something. So do make sure that you are nurturing yourself and getting yourself to bed at a decent time, making sure that you're eating right, getting your rest, nurturing yourself however you can. Because I think with the Empress card, the key is really to nurture the inner world as much as possible, because invariably that's what's going to be reflected back to you, especially upon that full moon in Sagittarius on June 11th, as well as that full moon in Gemini that we'll have in December. So think about what you want to nurture in your subconscious mind, what you need to let go of, what you absolutely need to close the door to and nail it shut, and where do you want to experiment and where do you want to be more open and play. But utilize the Empress energy, that archetype of the divine mother, to nurture yourself and to protect yourself and to also guide your long-term growth. And really gently, oh, you're thinking like this again, we don't want you to think about this. Some people actually name their anxiety and they say to themselves, Alice, I know what you're doing here. You need to stop doing this. You need to relax, right? So however you can nurture yourself, but you want to really tap into that divine mother energy, especially in matters pertaining to your subconscious and just making the goal peace of mind. Let the Empress help you to cultivate that. So Leo, you got a fresh start in your social circles and your long-term goals with the new moon in Gemini hitting your 11th house. So this is a fun transit for you. You might find yourself getting along with people, going out with friends, or joining groups or community. This is a great transit for you to really find your tribe, those people who get you, those people you enjoy being around. So connect with like-minded people. Align your goals with your community. If you have a group of people that are around you, what you're supposed to do is just, share what you want to do. Share your ideals. It might be, going on a trip. It might be, having fun. It might be something, frivolous, like, going to an arcade or karaoke, whatever it might be. But definitely tap into the energy of your community and tell people about what you want to achieve and let them help you. You also might want to strengthen your influence by being more of a friend to other people, as well as a friend to your community overall. Of course, this starts with being a really good friend to yourself, and it's always good to check in with yourself. Am I being a good friend to me? And Pluto is in your 7th house. So your relationships and your relationship story is going through major reconstruction. So your partnerships can absolutely transform. That doesn't mean they need to end. They could actually get more intensified, be more enhanced, be more fun and enjoyable. And if you're looking for a new relationship, I would say you want to really let Pluto transform your relationship story. What historically have you gone through in terms of your relationships? What patterns have been prevalent? And how can you say, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. I've been playing this game far too long. I want to do this instead. Now, the card we chose for you is very nice. 6 of Pentacles is about payoff. Finally, you're getting rewarded. So if you've been really working very, very hard toward your goals or a particular goal, well, you're going to probably see the fruits of it this new moon cycle. And that would be May 26th to June 11th. So also, I would say with the 6 of Pentacles, there may be some kind of shift in power that you hadn't expected. This could go either way, in the sense that, somebody that has been historically disempowered might all of a sudden have power. And that means that they might be able to help you, right? So there is a shift in power that's coming, and most likely it's your own success. Oftentimes, this card is about some money you weren't expecting to make that you do. But overall, you're going to be rewarded for what you've done. And it makes a lot of sense because that 11th house is also the house of gain. So you could gain something really, really great. Just so you know, the 11th house does have to do with big lump sums of money that you get. So the 2nd house might be that paycheck you get on a regular basis. The 11th house is like a big lump sum that you get, not regularly, but, one time is good enough to make a real dent. So enjoy your success, Leo. So Virgo, you have this new moon, of course, in your 6th house, and for you, Virgo, it's really going to be about doing whatever it is that you can to get your life running like a well-oiled machine. Like, what do you need to have in your life that's going to make you feel as if everything is running smoothly, right? And what new things can you do day in and day out that get you closer to your goals? So really look and see, what big picture stuff you want to accomplish, and then drill down. What does that look like every year? What does it look like every month, every week, and every day? So you may want to refine your career goals during this transit. You may want to really look and see what you're doing for work and seeing whether or not that is aligned with the bigger picture for your career. There is a need for work-life balance under a 6th house transit. It's going to be important for you to really tap into that energy that feels as if everything is going really well. You ever have those days in which, you catch the train on time, you hit every green light, and, you just feel really good and everything's, going wonderfully? Well, that starts on the internal plane. So do what you can to make sure that you're not only working, because if you're honoring all 4 elements, your spirituality with fire, and your emotional life with water, and your intellectual life with air, and your earthy life, of course, with earth, then you're going to find that everything runs more smoothly. Remember, we got 4 elements for a reason. Think of 4 wheels on a car, right? If things are not moving smoothly for you, most likely you don't have something that is you don't have an element that's being utilized, that's being implemented into your life, and therefore it's hard to move forward. Whereas when you have all 4 elements working in unison, like a car, it drives well, right? Strengthen your daily routines. What can you do day in and day out that's going to make you stronger every day? Even if it's 1% stronger, that's all that really matters. Pluto is going to help you to transform your health habits in a lot of ways, your work habits in a lot of ways. You may want to really determine what you can do on a regular basis that's going to create a really nice, strong foundation for your success. The 10th house transit, with that new moon for you, it's all about really looking and seeing what big mountain you want to be at the top of. Where do you want to be the winner? Where do you want to climb and be number one? And really, your habits are going to really help you to do that. And you got Pluto really working hard with that. So definitely do whatever it is that you can to intensify your focus, and making sure that you're not doing anything that is not practical, that's not aligned with your higher goals. But enjoy this, and I think that if you're looking for a really great win professionally, this might be it for you, Virgo. So Libra, happy new moon, Libra. This one, of course, is hitting your 5th house. It's really very, very positive. Really, really, very, very positive for you. Gemini is a sign for you that is, goes along very, very well with yours. You're both air signs. It's very, very, very positive. So there's a new beginning for you creatively. There's going to be a fresh start in terms of growth and expansion. So there probably will be new opportunities around you to learn and socialize, and new places to go, places to see. And you might want to take some risks in terms of personal growth. Like, what is really fun and exciting? This Gemini energy is going to really help you to get in touch with your sense of adventure, right? How can you expand? How can you grow? How can you go after those really shiny apples on the tree? What can you do that's going to allow you to really, really grow? How can you go beyond your stretch? How can you go beyond what it is that is familiar? The 9th house has to do with expansion and growth and broadcasting and publishing, and it's very, very, very positive. So you may want to take some kind of leap of faith. That might be very advantageous to you in a lot of ways. You may want to perhaps even start a business. That's a 9th house thing too. It's all about your expansion, your growth. And there may be something you want to study. Maybe you want to do a deep dive in some kind of new field that really, really lights you up. And I would really just look for those things that are exciting and new and novel, and really think about what's going to make you feel as if you're growing and expanding. The ninth house also has to do with like publishing, broadcast, anything that allows you to really expand and grow. You got Pluto is going to really help you creatively. It's going to empower you to take bold artistic risks. I would also say Pluto in your fifth. It's also going to help you to really transform your pleasurable relationships. Like what's really pleasurable for you? What relationships do you want to enjoy that to give you more pleasure and more satisfaction? Because there could be some really good things going on there, really really nice things. So I would do whatever it is that you can to really think about clearing the decks and saying, you know what, this whole world is mine, and I'm going to look at things from a higher vantage point and really determine what that might look like for you. Do you want to go on a trip? Do you want to study? Do you want to, publish things and broadcast things? Like, how do you want to expand and grow? And there should be a lot of fun for you as well. With the moon card, things are changing. The wind is in your face, and there's a lot of activity going on, as we said, with that Gemini energy. So don't feel as if you have to respond to every single thing. You don't have to say yes to every single invitation that you get. What I would do with the moon, it's usually good to hold back a little bit and to process and not feel like you got to give answers straight away. I would say with the moon card, you got a lot of stuff that is going to be happening over the next 2 weeks from May 26th to June 11th. Therefore, you don't want to feel as if you got to react straight away to everything or say yes. I certainly wouldn't agree to anything unless you're 100% sure about it. Because remember, just because there's a lot of information coming at the beginning of this transit doesn't mean there's going to be less information at the end of it. So what I mean by this is there might be, say, an invitation that you get early on, say close to the 26th. Say you get an invitation on the 27th, and then you get an invitation on the 28th. Well, sure, I mean, you could say yes to both of those, but by the time June 9th and 10th rolls around, there might be better invitations. So don't feel like you got to answer everything straight away. I would say with the moon card, get yourself some extra rest if you can. Allow yourself to process it. Don't feel like you got to balance Gemini. And what I mean by that is Gemini is really, really quick and they want, answers. And, Libra, you want to really allow yourself that grace of consideration and not feel as if you've got to address everything straight away. So it's also a really good time for you to get in touch with things that are beyond the mental and the intellectual. This could be, enjoying art or, escaping through movies or some kind of artistic creation. That could be a lot of fun for you as well. So do enjoy that, your new moon in Gemini. So Scorpio, you have this new moon in your 8th house, and the 8th house is all about your boundaries and those that you set and those that you dissolve. So there's a fresh start for you in terms of relationships, intimacy, and your resources. It's going to be a good idea for you to set intentions for deeper connections. Like, how can you get closer to people? How can you allow yourself to evolve through your relations with other people? It also is good for you to make sure that if something is undermining your sense of emotional security, that you're doing something about it, that you're not letting yourself letting somebody into your life so closely that you feel as if you're not gaining from that union, right? So if anybody you feel is undermining your self-esteem or your sense of self-control, then you need to make sure that you nip that in the bud and create better boundaries to protect yourself. You also might want to do some kind of transformation in terms of your shared resources. Maybe you want to balance things more. Maybe you need a bit bigger cut with your partner, or maybe you need to renegotiate a contract that is more ideal for you. Now you got Pluto in Aquarius hitting your 4th house. So this is pretty sensitive. I mean, this is an emotional time for you. I mean, you got an 8th house transit with the new moon. You got Pluto in Aquarius hitting your 4th. So your emotional life is most likely going to be transformed. It's very, very positive, but I feel like you're going to probably be determining what had been undermining your sense of emotional security, and that foundation is going to be fortified by Pluto. Oftentimes that's going to be coming about by something ending in your life. But at the end of the day, if anything rocks the boat or changes your foundation, it's going to help you to create a stable emotional foundation. So things are going to be much better for you once you allow yourself to really address, okay, this is no longer working. This no longer is for me. Now, the card we chose for you is Queen of Wands, and she's about mastery of self-knowledge. So you want to essentially know thyself, right? Know what it is that you need in order to feel really, really good. Does that mean you need to be less of a hard ass and dissolve boundaries and let people in more? Or do you feel like you're just always being taken advantage of and you need to call it quits and say no? Well, you know yourself. You know what you need at this time in your life, and don't be afraid of making choices that will evolve eventually into the lifestyle that you want to live, right? So set intentions for deeper connections if that's important for you, right? But know, who you are and what you want. Know what you bring to the table. Don't be afraid to eat alone, and really assert yourself. If there's certain boundaries that you have that you want to either dissolve or you want to create, be assertive. Don't feel like you got to hold anything back. That Gemini energy is not good for subtlety. I think Scorpios, oftentimes they would like other people to be just as intuitive or emotionally intelligent as they are, and they are not. Very few people are as emotionally intelligent as Scorpios. So, although it kind of sucks to have to broadcast and make things super clear, I want X or I don't like X, then it's not fun to do that. But I would encourage you to make sure that you're very clear about things, because with this Gemini energy, if there's any room for ambiguity, people might take advantage of it. So be sure to assert yourself and just do what you can to have fun and not take things seriously. And I would also, with Queen of Wands, burn away those things that's just noise. Scorpio notoriously hates small talk, and Gemini loves small talk. So know what you need to do in order to be of service to yourself and your values. And happy new moon. So Sagittarius, this new moon, of course, is hitting your 7th house because Gemini is your opposite sign. So it's a fresh start for you in terms of partnerships, communication, and connections. So you want to strengthen your relationships, the ones that you're in now, the ones you might want to be in the future, and really think about, okay, well, what would take this relationship to the next level, or what would make me not want to kill this person, right? What can you do to transform and change your relationships so they're more beneficial to you? You want to improve your communication skills as best as possible. You're responsible for 50% of every relationship you're in, right? So make sure that you're communicating in ways that are really, really clear, that you're communicating with love. Like, you can say whatever it is that you want as long as you say it with love, right? I love you, but it drives me crazy when you do this. I love you, but we can't keep doing this, or I'm not going to last in this relationship. Sorry, it's just true, right? You want to make sure that you're really clear. And you also might want to just set intentions for relationships if you're not in one now. They say write a list of, all the qualities that you want in somebody, and then imbue those qualities yourself, and you'll, find the perfect partner. But also, it doesn't have to be romantic. You could set intentions for collaborations that are really good for you. And I think collabs for Sagittarius are very good because, like Gemini, they can sometimes have a trouble finishing things because they get bored so easily. But if a Sagittarius has somebody who's more grounded or more Virgo-y, or even any of the fixed signs, that's going to help them to finish things off. Now, Pluto is hitting your 3rd house, and that's really positive for you. Pluto and Aquarius in your 3rd. So Your communications are transforming and you want to empower them. How can you communicate in ways that are empowering to you? Maybe it's as simple as creating a journaling habit, right? Or communicating with other people in a productive way, or even, taking a class, or doing something communication wise that's new and different, that allows you to touch upon a new aspect of yourself, because that's going to inspire you. Now, the card we chose for you, Sagittarius, is Page of Pentacles, and that essentially is all about you doing what you can to just bring things down to the basics. Like, how can you be just a trustworthy person? How can you just know how to be practical and trustworthy and do what you say you're going to do? Do what you are counted upon to do, right? With Page of Pentacles, it's just those, beginning stages of practicality, and really seeing, like, okay, well, I'm showing up on a regular basis. I'm grounded and I'm stable, and really making sure that the other people that you invest in are also stable and grounded. Are they trustworthy, right? So I would say, before you sign on that dotted line in your relationships or anything that you wind up doing, give things a test run. If you want to take a class, for instance, see if you can drop in the class and take one. Make sure you go on several dates with somebody before you commit to them. At least, right? At least several dates, or work on small deals with people as opposed to embarking on a big business venture. This is a testing period to find out who is practical and how you are showing up on a practical level too, because Sagittarius, let's face it, is not always good at that. They can do what they want when they want to do it, and that's part of their charm. But this would suggest that if you want a new beginning in terms of your partnerships, you got to allow yourself to be more practical, more consistent, etc. So do enjoy that. So for Capricorn, this new moon in Gemini is hitting your 6, which is nice. So that is really second house, rather. Second house. So it's going to be very, very good for you to excuse me, let me see, hold on one second. Capricorn, Sagittarius is Gemini. Oh yeah, it is your sixth. Okay. So yeah, Capricorn, you're gonna get a new beginning in terms of your routines, your health. How do you get your life running like a well-oiled machine? It's gonna be helpful for you to just make sure that everything is nice and stabilized in your day-to-day lifestyle. I think that will make things very, very easy for you, for sure. So the sixth house is just getting everything to go according to plan, when everything just lines up effectively. So this is a great lunation for you to strengthen your work habits, to do things on a regular basis that help you to achieve what you're setting out to achieve. You might want to focus on your physical and your mental health, anything that you can do to make sure that your body is feeling as perfect as possible. You'll get a sense of, oh, when I eat this, I feel like crap, or if I don't get sleep, I get, cranky or whatever. So do whatever it is that you can to make sure that you're feeling as good as possible physically as well as mentally. Well, in terms of your mental diet, even think about that, right? Like, what are you putting into your brain? There's a lot of people I know that, they stopped watching the news, or they don't watch the news as much as they used to, because, well, it's designed to really upset us, to, no matter what's being reported, is, in order for them to get ratings, they have to, trigger people, right? So, if you find yourself getting upset when you're watching either a show or news or whatever, you might want to limit that. You might want to nurture your mental diet and make sure that that only good stuff is going into your brain. Financial strategies could be very, very helpful for you to work with on this new moon. You get Pluto in Aquarius that's hitting your second house, and that can really transform your finances. There's such really good things with Pluto in your second. So you may want to, do whatever it is that you can to create habits that are good for you financially as well. Maybe it's a matter of getting in the habit of investing, or learning about investments, or getting into a habit of procuring or looking for new work new side jobs that might be beneficial for your finances. But, with Pluto in your second house and this lunation being so beautiful, I would do whatever it is that you can to really look and see how you might want to make more money, because there is money here for you, I would think, with this transit for sure. Because you want to think about lasting stability and lasting wealth. Now, the card we chose for you, Capricorn, is the Hermit. The Hermit is all about closing a cycle, ending a cycle in your life. And it's a period of completion and accomplishment. The Hermit is a big deal. It's number 9. It's the highest single digit number. So with the Hermit card, make sure that you're quieting down the world around you. I think that with this Gemini energy, it's a lot for Capricorn to handle. So you may want to nest and rest or hibernate a little bit with the Hermit card. That might be what it's telling you to do. That, I think that for somebody who might be Capricorn like in disposition, this energy it's of course positive, but it's also overwhelming with all the information, with all the chatter. So I would say with the Hermit card, if you're feeling that way, it might be a matter of you keeping everybody at a safe distance for the time being. And I also would say with the Hermit, it might be a matter of quieting down the world just so you can hear yourself think and really focusing on that inner voice. And that might be exactly where you get the information, because if you're looking to find out, okay, well, there's a fresh start in my routines and my finances are empowered, you want to make sure that you're making the best decisions. Like I said, there might be information that comes at the beginning of this new moon, right around the 26th, when there's even better information or more information coming about by the 11th. So quiet down the world and allow yourself to hear yourself think, and don't be afraid to be extra prudent and cautious. So Aquarius, you have this new moon in Gemini in your 5th house of play, of joy, creativity, self-expression. It's a fun and easy transit for you. You and Gemini are very conversational. I would say out of all the signs, Gemini and Aquarius are the most conversant. Like they really can talk about anything for long periods of time. So expect there to be a lot of chat, which you typically can be good at. You might want to set intentions this new moon for creative pursuits, doing things that really light you up, right? What could be really fun for you? What could be a very fun creative project? Make sure you're prioritizing self-expression. What things can you do on a regular basis that allows you to express yourself? And don't feel like you express yourself in one way. Remember, Gemini is a dualistic sign. It's in your 5th house. So you might creatively express yourself through writing, through painting, through dancing, through singing, through acting, anything, right? Don't feel like you're a one-trick pony under this new moon, because if you can diversify your self-expression and prioritize it, you're going to get a lot out of this transit. Anything that brings you joy is a 5th house thing. Anything. This could be hanging out with friends and doing nothing and being stupid, right? That could definitely be a 5th house transit, because if it brings you joy, it's not a waste of time. Now, Pluto has been in your 1st house for, well, it's not leaving anytime soon. It finally got there several months ago, and it's going to stay for the next 20 years. So, depending on where you are in Aquarius, like if you're, a 1 degree Aquarius or a 1 to 7 degrees, you're probably feeling Pluto in Aquarius at 3 degrees very, very strongly. But if you're like a 25-degree Aquarius, I doubt you're feeling it. Maybe you're feeling it, but it's not on your degrees if you're later than, say, 7. Within, I would say if you're at say 29 Capricorn planets, or to 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree, 4 degree, 5 degree, 6 degree, 7 degree Aquarius, then you're probably feeling this. But with Pluto in your 1st house, you're transforming your identity, and that's everything, because everything starts with your self-construct. Like if you believe you can do something, you're going to be able to do it, most likely, right? So utilize this energy of Pluto, which is extremely supported this lunation, to empower you into stepping into a new, more authentic version of yourself. Knight of Wands shows up for you. This is the card that we chose. This is just going for it. Like with all the intellectual stuff and energy, plus you being so thinking oriented, sometimes you just got to do it. And, it might not be perfect. And, there might be some fine tuning and you might not know how it's going to look. You got to go out on a limb. Knight of Wands is about just going for it. And, if you win big. And hey, if you lose, you might lose big too. Hopefully not. But with the Knight of Wands, this is like, you got to be fiery. You got to be like lightning. Just do it. Because I'll tell you, Aquarius, there's going to be so many options around you. You're going to have so many possibilities. It's almost like with this energy of Gemini right now that I've noticed, there's so many things that can be done. It's almost like it's a Mercury retrograde in the sense that it's slowing things down, but instead of it being a matter of we can't think very clearly, with this new energy of Gemini, now that Mercury is completely 100% at full speed capacity, it's more a matter of there's just so many options that it slows things down because you're having to process, I could do this. You're going to have to consider so many things. And that's almost like that's creating delays. Whereas before, okay, this is good. Now you have all these options. So I would say with Knight of Wands, there might be many things on the menu that you absolutely would love. But at this moment, at this juncture in time in your life, what is best for you on the menu? What haven't you had in a while? What would be best for you and your psyche? What at the end of the day is just, a smart move. And just shoot your shot. Just go for it. And Pisces. So Pisces, this new moon is, of course, hitting your 4th house of home, family, your emotional foundation, spiritual growth. So it's an opportunity for you to really create a stronger emotional foundation, and that's everything. If you have a strong emotional foundation, you can go and do whatever it is that you want. Because if you do fail, you'll have that resiliency to just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and get back on the horse, right? So this is an opportunity for you to really strengthen your home life, whatever makes you feel at home within the self. This could be empowering yourself. Maybe you need a binge at Bed Bath and Beyond and you need to get new pillows, or maybe you need to get a new home or do something that really enhances your sense of coziness, right, on the home front. You may want to set some goals for emotional stability, like how might you regulate yourself better, right? I think that with all this energy, especially with the new moon being in your touchy 4th house and Pluto being in your 12th, there's a lot of energy that is at your disposal and it could be tricky. So, I would definitely spend a lot of time in water if you can over the next few weeks. That's going to really help you. Determine what you might need to do in order to stay more regulated, just because there is going to be a lot of information thrown at you. And like I said, this is a very touchy transit. Reassess your family dynamics. Are there, ways that you can communicate with people in your family that might be more productive? Are you providing bait for people? Are you, creating problems where you may not need to really create problems? Or are you taking the bait from somebody else, right? How can you enhance your family dynamics? How can you change that dynamic in your family if it's not empowering to all parties involved, right? You want to feel really just overflowing with love and abundance. So look and see what part of what might be familiar to you that you might be doing on a regular basis that may be undermining your sense of emotional security. Now, Pluto's in your 12th house. So, it's going to be for the next 20 years, but it is being aspected very, very strongly this new moon. It's very, very positive. I would say that with Pluto in your 12th house, really do what you can to visualize what you want. This is great for self-hypnosis or any kind of hypnosis, doing affirmations, formations, anything like that. It's going to really help you. It's going to help you to clear any emotional blocks. And at the end of the day, you're going to feel better mentally. and emotionally, and that's going to really help you create a foundation on which you can build whatever it is that you want. But you want to make sure that you have that peace of mind, and you want to make sure that you are feeling supported. You want to make sure that you have your back and that you're supporting yourself, that you're going with yourself all the way. And then that's going to be reflected back to you in the partners that you attract. And the card we chose for you is Page of Cups, which is a very sweet card. It's all about, being open to things and experiencing new things and, allowing your love light to shine. Like, what can you do that, opens you up more emotionally? How can you create that strong emotional foundation this new moon that allows you to be vulnerable without putting yourself in deep psychological risk, right? So when you have that emotional security and stability, you can be open and vulnerable, and you'll be fine if you get hurt. You might get hurt, right? But with that Page of Cups, this is encouraging you to, be artistic, be creative, tap into that inner child, do what you can to play and have fun. So thank you all so much for watching tonight, and thank you, Sunflowers, and for watching the replay. Anybody who is, thanks so much. And if you have any questions or comments, please put those in the comments below, and I will see you soon, very soon, for this week astrology. Happy new moon, everybody.